Hey guys, it's Melissa here from Reiki with Melissa. I thought today I would talk to you about keeping yourself balanced and centered because I don't know about you, but I just started the new semester of school and I already feel like I'm juggling 50,000 things, and the Christmas break was so nice because I had a little time to rest and relax and rejuvenate a little bit. And then I jumped right back into the grind of getting up at 5 a.m. and going to work and all the things you have to do at work. And then I just thought, oh, this is craziness. I felt so at peace and centered and balanced over the break, and now it just feels crazy again. So it's important that we keep ourselves balanced. And it's easy for our energy to be thrown off by all the little things that happen to us throughout the day. You can start your morning and be all positive and happy and ready to go. And then little things happen to you that kind of chip away at that energy. It just makes your energy level drop. And it can become very easy to, throughout the day, your mood becomes sour, so that by the time you get home, you're ready to chew somebody's head off just for even looking at you because you've just had a day. And I know you probably all have had days like that. And maybe it's every day for you. I don't know. I hope not. But it's easy to become stressed out and overwhelmed and overworked and all of these things. I mean, life can get out of balance pretty quickly. So I thought I would talk to you about some of the things you can do to keep yourself in balance and in the flow, as we were talking about, when life starts to get really difficult and it feels like you're trying to swim upstream or you're trying to pedal your bike up a hill and it's just becoming a struggle. Then you're out of the flow. And it doesn't take much these days to get out of the flow. I mean, it really doesn't. Unfortunately, when you deal with the public, there's so many things they can say and do and just make you feel crappy. So it's easy to get yourself out of the flow, to let those negative thoughts roll in and to start playing the victim again. So you've got to be very conscious about not doing that to yourself. And I don't tell you that I do it all the time. I have to constantly keep my thoughts in check. It's easier to go to that negative place than it is to go to the positive because we're just trained to do that. Well, here's some things that you need to do and think about when you start feeling like you're getting out of balance or you're feeling like you're not in the flow of things anymore. Number one, you need to pay attention to how you're feeling. I know that seems kind of dumb, but if you're not noticing that you're starting to feel out of balance, you're not going to realize that you're out of balance until it's really out of balance. So try to pay attention if you can to how you're feeling throughout the day. Oh, do I feel okay? Do I feel like I'm in the flow? Do I feel like things are flowing pretty smoothly? Or is it one of those days where every time I turn around, something's happening, like I just spilled my coffee all over myself? My boss just came in and yelled at me. One of those kind of days, right? So check your emotions. How are you feeling? Are we feeling in the flow? Feeling out of the flow? When you start to feel like, I don't feel as great as I did an hour ago, I'm starting to get a little out of balance here, there's a couple of things we can do. Number one, if you know that you're getting out of balance and you're feeling kind of off-centered because somebody, let's say your boss came in and chewed you out. And maybe you did something that you deserve to be chewed out for. I don't know. Nobody's judging. But we can choose to stay in that victim mentality and then start that whole, my boss is an asshole and he came in for no reason, bit my head off, and now I have this day and now I have to deal with it. You're all like, yeah, I just said that yesterday, right? We've all been there. We know how that is. But you've got to stop yourself right there, because right there you're playing the victim. And it wasn't your fault. Your boss is just a jerk and it's the boss's fault. Stop that right now. Maybe you got yelled at for no reason. Maybe the boss was just in a bad mood. It doesn't really matter anyway, okay? If that's the case, that's on your boss. If you did something that you deserve to be chewed out a little, maybe you need to fix your actions for the next time. But also, leave that behind, because you don't want to take on the emotion of that victim and of, oh my gosh, I just got yelled at, and I don't know about you, when somebody does that to me, I almost feel like a 2-year-old. Like, I feel like a little child, that somebody's just diminished me in some way, that they yell at me and treat me like that. And I don't like that at all. And I think a lot of people go to that feeling of like, oh, I feel insecure, and like a little kid who, has to be yelled at all of the time. So nobody likes feeling that. So if that happens, I want you to take a deep breath and try to get yourself centered and ground yourself. So make sure your feet are on the floor, sitting upright. Take a couple of deep breaths. And I know if you're in the workplace, you can't like stop everything and meditate right there in the office, because I can imagine the looks that you would get, because I work in a school and I can imagine the looks I would get. And it's not possible to do that anyway. But you can take a couple of deep breaths, and just as you inhale, take in as much oxygen as you can, and when you exhale, you're going to exhale all of the worries, the stress, whatever just happened, you're going to let it go. And I like to tell myself this little mantra. When I breathe in like loving, healing energy. When I breathe out, it's let that shit go. And sorry if my cussing offends you, but I love that phrase, and it just resonates with me for some reason. I would wear that on a t-shirt if I could, but, too many people would be offended where I work, so I couldn't do that. But, breathe in and breathe out that let that shit go. You've got to let it go. And just say that to yourself a couple of times as you breathe in and out. Another thing that you can do that I like doing is then replace the negative thoughts that are popping up into your head with positive. So if your boss said 2 negative things to you, replace it. I usually say the ratio I use is, if I think a negative thought, I usually try to come up with at least 3 or 4 positive thoughts to eliminate that one negative. And you may even want to do more than that, because I don't know what it will take for you to erase that negative thought. But for me, if I do about 3 or 4 positive thoughts, I'm usually pretty good. So if my boss said, your work ethic is really sloppy or something like that, then I would think to myself, I work hard. I'm intelligent. I'm capable. So I'm going to replace that with 3 or 4 positive things about myself. Okay? And another thing that you can do is to just go for a quick little walk if you can. If you work in an office building and you can walk outside for a minute and go out and get it like fresh air, breathe in nature, and then go back in. Sometimes you just need to get out of that environment, because that negativity hangs there in the air, I swear. So get out of that for a minute. Take a brisk walk outside and come back in. You can lie and say you have to go smoke if you're not a smoker. I hope you're not a smoker, because it's not good for you. But if you have to say, I need to go smoke, so you can just get outside, whatever, go take a break and come back in. Sometimes just getting out of that energy also helps. And if you can, and I don't know if you can or not, where I work, it might not necessarily be possible. But if you can and you're working at your desk, if you have headphones, turn on some really uplifting music as you're sitting there. Listening to music raises your energy. It raises that energy vibration, and it just makes you feel better. So try to get out of that funk by listening to, and don't listen to a sad, depressing song, but listen to something that makes you feel good. One of your favorite songs, or you can pick one of the songs. They have the energy frequency, the music on YouTube you can listen to that raises your vibration. You could listen to something like that, but honestly, I want to enjoy my music, so there are a couple of songs that do that, and I like them, so I listen to those. But pick something that you like that's going to elevate your mood. Another thing that you could do is, if you like essential oils, I keep a diffuser at work. I just like it, and especially like when I'm sick, there's nothing that will throw you off balance more than being sick. And when I'm not feeling well, I like to put the Breathe by doTERRA in the diffuser, and it's like eucalyptus and mint, and it smells really, really good, and it opens my sinuses. So I really like to have that. I like to have lavender, because lavender has a calming effect for me, so I like that as well. But anything that you like, any kind of essential oil, might even just like peppermint or something. It's kind of a soothing smell and makes you feel a little bit better, elevates that mood. It's all about getting your energy back up, because when our energy drops and is low, that's when we kind of tend to be out of balance there. Another thing, though, is making sure that you're not taking on too much. And that's easier said than done sometimes. But remember, we talked about how you have to tell the person, like, if you don't want to take on too much or you don't want to do something, we have to stand up for our inner child. And so we have to tell people no sometimes, because we are saying yes to our inner child. If we say yes to all of these projects that we are going to do and we don't want to do them, or we know we don't have time to do them, then you're going to feel resentful. And you're also going to just be very stressed out because you're taking on way too much, and you're telling that inner child no. And if you can imagine, I actually like to imagine myself as a child, because I have a hard time saying no to people sometimes. I seriously had to take a class one time where I just had to practice telling people no, as ridiculous as that seems. I was a people pleaser. I wanted to make everybody happy. So when people come to me and say, can you do this? Will you do this? Will you do this? It was, yep, sure, yep, no problem. The only problem was I was stressing myself out doing things I did not want to do just because I wanted other people to be happy. And I'm sure that there are people out there listening who do the same thing, because we are all empaths, and most of us are people pleasers, and so we don't set healthy boundaries for ourselves. So you've got to learn to tell people no. And one thing that I do sometimes, if I know I'm going to have to tell somebody no and I'm not looking forward to it and I'm a little bit afraid to do that, is I will actually ask Archangel Michael to be with me. And I imagine that he has put this shield of light around me, and you can either imagine he comes in like a blue light, or even he has the white sort of healing light. You can do white light or blue light, but I imagine that he's there. He's put this bubble of light around me, and so nothing can harm me. It doesn't matter what the person says or how they react. They can't hurt me. And it gives me a little bit of courage to know that, he's right here with me if I have to tell somebody something I don't want to tell them, because it's not always easy for me to have to tell people no. And that's important. So making sure that you are setting your healthy boundaries and not trying to take on too much. And we talked about that before. And that includes with your kids too. We want to be super parents, but if your kids are involved in like 6 different sports, you're just going to kill yourself, and you're going to burn your child out too. And I know people think, well, if I keep them busy, then they can't get into trouble. Well, that's not necessarily true either. So try not to get involved in too many things. Don't take on too much, because there's only so much that's reasonable without burning yourself out. And if it's just that you don't want to be alone in the evening, maybe you're taking on all of these things because you don't want to sit at home. Well, do things that are fun and relaxing for you, not things you have to do to keep you busy. I know I love my mom to death, and if she hears this, I hope she knows I just mean this in a positive way. She is like everything for everybody and is always going everywhere and doing everything. And I really think it's because she just doesn't want to be like at home alone, which I get, but you have to be able to be okay with yourself and to be okay being alone by yourself. To me personally, there are times when I'm like, I'd rather go out. I don't want to be home alone. But most of the time, if I get a chance and it's like, I just have this alone time, I'm like, I've got this whole list of things I want to do, and I'm perfectly fine and chill being at home by myself. It's great to have a little bit of alone time. So don't take on too much. Make sure that if you are doing things to stay busy, that you're doing it for the right reason, and that you are doing things you enjoy, not trying to do things for others to try to please them. You don't want people to use you. So another thing you can do at the end of the day, those are things like during the day you could do. When you get home at the end of the day, you can meditate, and I highly recommend taking a little bit of time out to do that. And it doesn't even have to be very long. If you can only fit 5 or 10 minutes in, it's great, but do it. Sit down in a quiet place. You can either do a guided meditation or you can simply just meditate without music or anything, or you can have soft music playing in the background. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's really all about you and what you feel comfortable with. I like to sit just in a chair with my feet flat on the floor, and I get very comfortable. Sometimes I'll have music playing in the background and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like to sit in the stillness and in the quiet, because sometimes I actually receive guidance more clearly when I'm sitting and I have nothing going on. I'll actually get messages from my guides about certain things. And if I'm having an issue with if I'm having any kind of issue, I should say, it doesn't matter what it's about, if it's at work or in a relationship or whatever. If I need answers, I might just go and sit quietly and meditate and see if anything comes to me. It's easier to hear your intuition and connect to your higher self when you practice meditation. And I am a huge advocate for taking hot, relaxing baths at night too. I love that. And they're not for everybody. Not everybody likes them, but I like them, and I like putting in the Epsom salt, and I like putting in essential oils, and I like burning a candle. And I don't always keep wine around the house or have bottles of wine, but having a glass of wine, or if you want a beer or whatever, just to relax and unwind a little. And I'm not saying do that every day, but you could do the hot bath every day, sure. But I mean, I don't know that you necessarily have to have a glass of wine or a bottle of beer every day, but, just pampering yourself to make it relaxing. I might like a cup of hot tea also. I like drinking green tea, and coffee is my go-to. I love coffee, so all of those things you can do. And I love all of the meditations they have out there that you can also listen to as you're falling asleep. Those are nice too. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that other thing that Emily Aarons talked about that I love too is making sure that you have this container around yourself in a space that contains this energy, so that you're keeping this higher vibrational energy around you. But stuff happens, so you have to get this energy around you, and you might have to do this exercise to keep this container of energy around you. And it's like what we did when we did the karma cleanse, where you rub your hands together. You, first of all, ask that your energy vibration be raised to the highest level and try to keep it at that level. And then you rub your hands together to create that. You can feel the warmth in between your hands, and you can kind of feel the energy, and then slowly opening up your hands so that energy is contained around you. And you can do that again and again. So if you want to go back and do that karma cleanse again too, you can do it more than one time. I always tell people that they can do any kind of activity more than once. Sometimes you get more out of it the more you do it. So totally feel free to do that. So just remember to breathe. Breathing, we sometimes get in the habit of not doing our deep breathing when we're going throughout our day. I know whenever I do exercises, sometimes I think I forget to breathe. And the person that I watch in my workouts, she'll say, breathe. I'm like, oh yeah, I was holding my breath. So it gets really easy during the day to go out throughout your day and not deeply breathe, because we're just so busy and we don't have time. And take the time. Take a few minutes and just relax and breathe deeply and get yourself centered again. Don't let anyone take your power from you and let you fall into that victim mode. And only you can allow them to do that to you. You can allow them to take your power and to put you in the victim mode again. Or you can say, no, you're not going to take my power. We can't control what people do to us throughout our day, but we can control how we react to it. We can say, you know what you did sucked, and I'm not happy with you, but I'm not going to let it affect my day. I'm not going to allow you to rob me of my energy. You're not going to be an energy vampire to me, And I am not going to fall into victimhood again. I'm not doing that. It's a conscious effort. Remember, for every negative thought, 3 to 4 positives to turn that around. Flip the switch, change your story. So I thought I would pull a card for you today to end it, and I pulled a card from the deck The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And the card I pulled is, in every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love. So exactly what we were talking about, right-minded thinking and the energy of love. Because when you're in that mindset, when you're in the right mindset, it's all about love. And no one can take your power. No one can make you a victim because you won't let them. You keep your mind space positive. You keep it in the right place. Because remember, you matter and you make a difference. And you can't fill someone else's cup if you have nothing in yours. So make sure you keep your cup full. Don't give and give and give to others before you give to yourself first. Take care of you and then take care of others. Okay? So I hope you have a wonderful day. I really, truly appreciate you listening. If you are interested in Reiki, that is another fabulous way to fill your cup, because Reiki brings everything back into balance. It aligns your chakras. All the energy is allowed to flow freely once again through your body. It raises your vibration. We can deal with any emotional problems you're having. You can book a session with me on my website. I'm now offering 90-minute sessions, and my packages now I have 4 60-minute packages and 4 90-minute packages. So check that out. I also still have a Purposeful Pilgrimage, which is, I was calling it a program. It's really an online class that you do at your own pace. It's 22 lessons. They're chunked for you so you can do one a day. And it's all about small changes that are easy to implement, but they will have a big and lasting effect on your life. So check that out. It's still on sale for $52. It's a bargain. It is normally $88, so go check that out. And again, I might be adding some new services to the future. I am thinking about adding card reading. So I would be doing like 3 card messages for you on a particular topic that you want me to give you messages about. And also personal one-on-one sessions if you need coaching. If you are stuck in one area of your life and you need some direction, be happy to work with you. As always, you guys are fantastic. If you like my podcast, please share it with others so that they can also find me. And if you would leave me stars and reviews and feedback, I super appreciate it. I'm sending you guys massive love. I will talk to you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.